What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Reyes Reflection Podcast. Always free to subscribe, so make sure you do so and follow me on those socials at I'm Nathanael Reyes. Plugging in those partners real quick: Jocko Fuel, clean fuel without compromise. Mad Rabbit Tattoo Aftercare. Be bold, be you. Make sure you use that promo code Reyes Reflection for a discount on your order. And lastly, Arave cards, completing sets one card at a time. Head over to the eBay, Facebook, and their streams on Whatnot to get yourself started on your Pokemon card collection today. Intro time for my next guest. Some of you may have seen her on the Discovery Plus show Cake-a-Likes. Others may have seen her on the Netflix shows Sugar Rush and Is It Cake Season 3. She is the owner of the Sculpted Slice, a mother of two, and she is aging beautifully because she gets told that she looks like she's under 21. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Caitlin Taylor, welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I appreciate you doing this. How the are you today? You know why I said it like that?
Why?
Because on your episode, Is It Cake, when you were mad about the numbers, you were like,
oh my God, yeah.
Did I do this?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was like, I'm so used to, being in work, and back in the house is super funny because you can kind of get away with a lot more than you can if you're front of the house. And I have a little bit of a sailor's mouth. Don't tell the kids that watch Is It Cake, but I was trying so hard not to cuss because I'm like, I know it's Netflix, but it's a family show. Like, are they going to bleep me out? Are they going to put something funny that Mikey says over it? So I'm like, let's just not.
Yes.
Let's just not swear. But it was one of those moments where I was like, why? So funny story for that, but.
So in other words, you totally could have just let it rip right then and there.
Potentially, I don't know. I'm glad I didn't because I don't think my family would be too impressed, but.
I'm the same way. My mom, so I'm 30, and my mom still treats me like I'm like 13, 14 if I cuss in front of her. And I'm like, Mom, I'm an adult.
My in-laws are like that.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be like, language! And we're like, you drop it every 2 words. What do you mean?
That's what it is for me. It's the hypocrisy. If you're gonna throw the stone, fine. But if you also do it to me, my mom's the same way. My mom will curse up a storm.
Listen, they're not curse words. They're sentence enhancers.
I've never heard that before. Sentence enhancers.
They're a little spice to the sentence sometimes. It calls for it in certain situations. Also, comedy. I mean.
I couldn't agree with you more because let me just say this. I have a sailor's mouth too, so you admitted. I'm just going to get one out the way, and then we can go from there. We'll see how it goes.
Fuck.
I was going to say, nothing is better than a well-placed fuck. Nothing is better.
Oh, it's a great versatile word. It can be a noun, an adjective, all sorts of stuff, a verb. Like, it's great.
A sentence enhancer. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's what I'm going to start saying.
Enhancer.
When Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio asks me if these episodes have a swear in them or are they explicit, I'm just going to say no, they have a lot of sentence enhancers.
Yeah, there you go.
So, do people really think that you're really 18, 19, 20 years old?
Yeah, so I have a lot of people that are very confused when I tell them I have an almost 7-year-old. That's pretty funny. I am starting to see the wrinkles. Apparently, nobody else is. So hope that stays that way till I'm 40. But yeah, it's really weird. Like, at least, luckily, like the guy at the local liquor store knows my husband and I because we frequently go there. So it's like our spot, and so he knows who I am. So I don't get carded anymore. But a lot of the times I do get carded, and it's really funny because I'm like, oh, that's so annoying, and I slide my ID like I really don't. I please card me, like.
Yes.
So it is kind of funny. My funniest one though didn't have to do with being carded. When we lived in Silver Spring when we first moved here in 2019, I was sitting on the swing in the playground that was in our complex, and my mom was here, and I'm like my mom's twin, so it's really funny. But my mom was she was like playing with my son on the slide, and one of the neighbors from like the other part of the complex was walking through it and was like, "Oh, your brother's so cute." And I'm like, "He's my son. That's grandma." They literally thought it was my little brother. Which is even funnier because my son is my twin. So it's 3 generations of clones, essentially.
That look exactly alike.
Yeah. And I was just like, no, I did the hard work on that one. He's mine.
Even though the grandparents want to take credit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my second son, so my mom's been here for the last week, helping me out because I've been really busy at work with orders, doing interviews, and then my husband's away this week for work in another state. So she's been helping, drop the kids off at school, pick them up, that whole thing. And my youngest, who's going to be 2 on Monday, is like, he's normally attached on me like white on rice. Okay. Dad's in the room, mom's in the room. He's like, no, daddy, and want mommy. Now grandma's here. He don't want nothing to do with me. He's like, no, mom, what grandma? I'm like, take him. Bye.
You're old news. Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I love you. And he'll go, no, mommy. I'm like, that's so mean.
Isn't that the worst when your kids won't tell you that they love you? It's like, I feel like that's got to be heartbreaking and debilitating.
Yeah, I get used to it. I mean, it definitely sucks with the youngest because he's my little buddy,
Yeah.
and he's so cute right now. Like, he's in that toddler stage. So he's like very much like wants to do what I'm doing and wants to follow mommy. I'll pull out the vacuum to vacuum the living room, and he runs in the other room and gets his little play vacuum and comes in and is like, I help you. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm like, he's already starting to be boss baby. He's like starting to like tell his brother what to do. It's hilarious at the same time as it is frustrating. But I am done. No more. No, I'm not playing zone defense. I'm playing man on man, one kid for each parent. That's it. We're done.
I've never heard that. Zone defense. Wow.
I'm telling you, man to man's easier than zone.
Yeah. What about when it's 2-on-1? For the families that kid is. Are they at a disadvantage, or will that kid run the household?
I feel like it's more of a problem when it's like there's 3 kids and it's like 2 of them inevitably gang up on the other one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because I used to want 3 and then I had 2 and I'm like, I'm all set.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. It's my oldest is like getting to the age now though where he plays my husband and I off each other.
Yep.
So like I'll tell him no to something and then he'll run to dad and tell him the sob story and be like, oh, well, mom said no because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that is not what happened, sir. Absolutely not. And he's like, what happened? And he's like automatically on my son's side. And I'm like, you were not there. He's playing you.
And now you almost have to defend yourself and justify yourself. You're like,
100%. I'm like, who is the adult here?
Right. Yeah. Who's the adult? I'm negotiating with a child right now. Yes.
A terrorist.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. They're hilarious though. They love it. And I think they both, I mean, the youngest one's really just now starting to realize that I make cake all the time. Because now he points to my baking station at home and goes, a cupcake. And I'm like, cupcakes are asleep, bud. You're not having a cupcake at 8:00 at night. It's not happening.
I love that. One of my questions was, I was going to ask you, what does being a mother mean to you?
It's everything, honestly. Like it's a little selfish. So I definitely think parenting is selfish. As much as it is selfless, it's very selfish when you think about it. Because you go into wanting to be a parent to have these tiny clones of you thinking that you're going to pop out your best friend, and inevitably you end up fighting with them. So like my first son is so much like me that we are like fire and ice, man. We go head to head all the time because I'm fighting with myself. And so it's really frustrating, but it's also like the most rewarding thing too, because like I'm starting to see his little personality come out, and he's shown an aptitude for art. Like he can draw like nobody's business, and he's 6. Like he's going to be 7 in November, and this kid can draw better than I could at that age. Like it's absolutely wild. I'm like, wow, he really got my artistic genes. That's so awesome. And he used to say, when you ask him what you want to be when you grow up. He goes, I want to be a volunteer firefighter during the day, or a firefighter during the day, and then I want to be a baker like mommy, or like vice versa or something. And now he tells you, I want to be an artist.
Oh.
And I think that's like, that is the culmination of like why I'm so happy to be a mom, because I'm like, to see him get excited about something that I used to be excited about, even if it wasn't something I used to do. It's just, I know what that feeling is when you first discover something that you're good at and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this. And I see his little eyes light up when he like does something really good, and I'm just like, man, he's gonna go so far in life if he can keep that spark, because that's really hard. You know, a lot of people aren't lucky enough to know what they want to do from a young age. So I hope he stays with it, because he does get frustrated that he's not as good as I am at drawing. And I'm like, buddy, mommy has like 30 years on you, kid. Like, I've been doing art, 3 times your age. Like, it's going to be okay. You just have to keep drawing and you keep getting better with everything. I'm like, look at the stuff you drew last month compared to now, the exact same items. They're so much better, right? And he'll be like, yeah. Like, okay, so stick with it. It's not going to happen overnight. That's the fun of it, is like getting better and seeing the progress. So with the little one, it's kind of like, I'm starting to see his little personality come out, and me and my husband are like, oh, who's he going to be more like? Is he going to have the same artistic tendencies as mom? Is he going to be more, super business minded like dad? Is he going to have his own complete, personality by himself? Like, it's so fun to watch them develop, you know?
Yeah. Because they're a little bit of you and a little bit of him, but also it's really fascinating because then they're their own variation of themselves. So it's like they're a small variant of you, but then they also are having their own interests, their own beliefs, their own thought process. So it's really, really fascinating. No matter how much you, I don't know, I don't want to say influence, but that's what you're essentially doing. As a parent, no matter how much you influence your children, they are going to make their own decisions. They're going to decide whether what you're saying is not true or whatever the case may be. They'll
100%.
They'll discover it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's a balance.
It's also so interesting with the age group too, because, you have the same thing when you're a kid. It's like, oh, my parents grew up so long ago. What did they know?
Yeah.
But it's like, they're even worse now, because it's like, we're of the age group that grew up with technology.
Yep.
But we also remember what it was like before it became a big thing.
Yes.
And that's all they know.
Yes.
And so it's no longer acceptable when they ask you a question for you to say, I don't know, because they can just Google it. And so it's like, well, why don't you know? You're supposed to know everything. And it's like, newsflash. Like,
that's such a valid point. I remember saying to someone who I interviewed a couple weeks ago, I said, I feel like, and this isn't me. Every generation thinks that they're better than the next, or better than the ones after them know nothing, whatever. I'm not saying this as a person who's trying to come from that angle. You're 31, 32, something like that, right?
I'll be 32 next month, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be 31 at the end of the year. And I feel like people our age has seen the world change in real time. Because you just mentioned, we grew up with the 90s and the nostalgia and how everyone's sitting at home watching the same channel at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night, ready for work, whatever, Pizza Fridays at school. And and I feel like everyone our age had a similar childhood in that regard, where they scraped their knees up. Their parents told them that they can play until the lights came on, the street lights came on. And now I feel like the world has gone so far with technology that kids don't even know how to be bored anymore.
Oh, that drives me insane.
I know.
The power went out the other day.
Yeah. Okay.
And my son was like, but how am I going to watch my iPad? I was like, you don't. Yeah. It's just like, but I'm so bored. I was like, H, you have so many toys in that playroom that you haven't looked at, because he's either on the PlayStation playing Minecraft, or he's watching kids YouTube, which is, I don't mind. Like, some parents are very uptight about like screen time and setting limits. I'm gonna be honest, we don't really set limits for him unless it's getting problematic, because he doesn't watch random stupid stuff. He actually will, and I think this is part of the fact that he has ADHD like I do. He'll fall down a rabbit hole because he wants to know something. This kid can tell you everything about tornadoes. He can tell you everything about the Titanic and the Carpathia and the Britannic. Like, it's unreal. He told me the other day, he goes, "Hey, you know the ship that saved the people on the Titanic, the Carpathia?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you know that that ship also sunk?" And I'm like, "Did it? I don't know. How am I going to fact check him?" And he, swear to God, he pulled up like 4 different articles and a YouTube video about how it got hit by a torpedo in World War One, and it also sunk in the Atlantic. And I'm like, this kid is so smart. He's smarter than his own good. Like, I swear, it's crazy. But he just comes out with these factoids, and I'm just like, I would have killed to have the access to information that this kid has. You know, it's like really crazy. And I'm like, I hope he uses his powers for good, because, like, if he becomes a hacker, like, we're all in trouble.
Yeah. No, he's got me beat because I didn't even know that there was a ship that helped the people off the tide. I didn't
I'm
even know
telling
that.
you, I literally was folding laundry 3 months ago, and it was on TNT. And I went, "Oh, I haven't seen this movie in a while. That's cool." The baby was taking a nap. H was doing something else. And he comes in when I'm folding laundry, watching Titanic. And it was towards the beginning of the movie. And he goes, "What are you watching?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a movie called Titanic. It's, you know, it's a drama. It's, the story's not really real, but the essence of it is, like, it was a real ship. It really sank. It really hit an iceberg." And he went, "Cool. Can I watch?" And I'm like, "Sure." I mean, how bad could it be? I mean, I know there's that one scene towards the end, but I'm like, he'll be fine. Like, he gets it. So I'm like, "All right, yeah, you can watch it. You can watch it with mom." And he was like, "Okay." And so he started watching it. This kid zoned into this movie so hard. He has watched it at least 30 times in the last 3 months.
Really?
He watches it before he goes to bed. He's like, "I'm going to watch Titanic tonight. Okay, mom." I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" He can tell you, like, how that one of the smokestacks wasn't real, and it was just for show to make the ship look more grand. He'll tell you that there were 3 ships that were identical. He knows the names of them. He knows what happened to it. Like, unreal. Unreal.
Damn.
I'm like, man, I hope he keeps that, like, thirst for knowledge going into school, because that's really, really cool.
You've got a problem on your hands. He's going to go ahead and light the world on fire. Man.
You can't even lie to him no more.
I believe
You
it.
can't. He'll be like, "Actually, that's wrong." And I'm like, "Excuse me." Like,
Wow. You got a world leader on your hands. I love it.
100%.
In 20 years, when he's running the free world, I'll sit there and be like, I interviewed his mother. That's right.
Yeah, we're going to link right back to this.
Yes. This is the dawn of it. This is the dawn of it. You said his birthday's in November, right?
Yeah.
November what?
Yeah. 19th.
Okay, I thought he was in that. I don't know too much about the astrology signs because I'm November 28th. And I like to think I'm pretty smart,
You
too.
are a day before my father-in-law.
Oh, really?
He's the 29th, yeah.
Yeah.
You're all Scorpios.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe we all are intertwined, but I use my brain for unnecessary knowledge. Like, he could tell you all that stuff. I can tell you random facts that have no purpose to life, and you'll see later on in this interview, I'll go ahead and I'll ask you some burning questions that I just will. To me, they're hilarious, they're comical, but to other people, they're like, all right, I don't understand.
That's funny. I like that kind of stuff, though. That's what makes life fun.
Right? Yeah, you can't take yourself too seriously. So, no, I appreciate you sharing about your kiddos. It's a really heartfelt moment. So, I want to learn a little bit more about you as well. So, you said that you knew your entire life that you wanted to bake, but when did you fully get all in and pursue it as a career? Did you have other jobs prior to that? I'm just interested in that.
So it's funny, like, my timeline is always a little fuzzy because I always give different ages, but it's somewhere between the age of 13 and 15, maybe at the end of when I was 12, that I watched Food Network Challenge on TV when I was at my dad's house over a weekend. And, I was young enough that I was still kind of playing with Bratz dolls and, whatever. And so I had a bunch of Halloween candy, because candy. And I had those, you remember those, like, vanilla Tootsie Rolls that were different colors.
Oh yeah, it was like blue, green, red.
Green.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, you just
So I
unlocked a
had a
memory.
bunch of those, right? Core memory unlocked. So I had a bunch of those, and I had my like Barbies or Bratz or whatever, and I'm like watching the show, and I'll never forget it. It was a Harry Potter theme, or at least the cake that they were showing at that point in the show. And somebody had made Diagon Alley out of cake and marzipan and fondant. And it was so unreal to me at the time because I had no idea about any of that. And I'm like, oh my God, that looks like edible Play Doh. That's so cool. And then I'm like, I can do that. You'll learn throughout this interview. Like, my toxic trait is I can do that and
Yeah.
then fall down a rabbit hole. And so this is where that all origin story started. So I made a little mini, like, I swear to God, this thing was maybe 2 inches tall. This 3-tier wedding cake for my Barbies out of the Tootsie Roll, made tiny little flowers and vines with leaves. And I brought it to my dad and I went, look what I made. And he was like, holy shit, Caitlin, how did you do that? And I'm just like, I don't know. I was like, look at this show. And he was like, that's so cool. So then I started like watching that more. And okay, I'm going to age myself. Went on the TV Guide channel to find out when it was coming back on because I wanted to watch more. And then the show Ace of Cakes was out. And so I ended up watching that. And I was like, oh my God, I want to work there. And Duff was like, at the time on the show, he goes, oh yeah, anybody that works here, even if they're like a skilled decorator, we always make them start as the dishwasher first and work their way up. And I was like, I'm going to be their dishwasher. I'm going to work there. That's the goal, blah, blah, blah. And so, fast forward to high school, I made my 16th birthday cake. It was a 3-tier cake, and I'll send you a picture of it so you can see it. But it was like no structure in it whatsoever, just stacked on top, hoped it wouldn't fall, no dowels, no straws. The fondant was like an inch thick. It was so terrible. But for a first cake, it looked really good. And from there, I was just like, oh no, I'm doing this. And, I didn't get it diagnosed with ADHD until I was about 29. So I didn't realize that all of my personality traits back then were symptoms, but they were my superpower also because I was able to have that focus on if I'm really interested in something. I have no concept of time. I will zoom in and do that thing until somebody goes, hey, you should probably eat. Or should you want some water? Like, living, it's a thing here. So I just kind of like kept going. And then, we found out about this culinary vocational program in my town that they had several vocational programs. They had like criminal justice, graphic design, cosmetology, whatever. And they had a culinary one. So junior and senior year of high school, I went to my high school for half the day. And then the other half of the day, I went to the culinary program. And like my math and science were applied. So it was like how to scale recipes. Oop, I forgot it does that. Oh, yeah. How to scale recipes, how baking works with science, all that kind of thing, recipe conversion. And so I learned how to do that through high school. And then I found out about Johnson & Wales. And I literally went, this is what I'm doing. I don't care if I don't get in. I don't care if, any of these things happen. If I don't get into that school, I'm not going to school. I'm going to take a year off. I'm going to work in a bakery. I will do this. There was no backup plan. It was all the eggs in one basket. And so,
which most people advise you don't do, but you were really confident in this.
No, confidence is key, I think. Like, yeah, if there's a will, there's a way. I know, like, people make fun of our generation and the millennials and call us snowflakes, and like everybody thinks we're like these special little kids that thought they could do anything. But I think confidence is like 90% of the battle sometimes. Like, you really have to fake it till you make it, and you gotta believe in yourself because, to be honest, nobody else will. Unless you do.
I say that all the time. I'm so appreciative that you just said that because sometimes I'll say things like that satirically for a comedic effect, but I mean what I'm saying. So I've said similar things like that, and I genuinely believe that. Like one time, I walked by and somebody said, "You did a good job." And I said, "I know, thank you." And they were like, "Oh, wow." They were like taken back by the confidence. And I was like, and they were like, "I mean, I appreciate your confidence." And I was like, "Yeah, like it's just how I am." And they were like, "Well, are you insecure about anything?" And I go, "Honestly, not really." And they were like, "Why not?" Like, most people are insecure. And I said, "I focus on the things that I'm really good at, and I try my best to get it. And I'm so hard on myself that if I'm not good at something, I'm going to do my best to at least get competent or capable, I should say, enough where I can do it." And and then it got into a conversation where she was like, "So you're not insecure about not being that tall?" Because I'm only like 5'7". I go, "Why would I be insecure about something I can't change?
Right.
Like, why is that going to bother me? Why am I going to lose sleep over the fact that, like," because, you'll see the things on social media where people say, "Only guys over 6 feet tall, whatever, whatever." And I'm like, yeah, but if somebody's that brutally, I don't want to be harsh, but if they're that brutally ignorant, then so be it. Good for them. Whatever. I don't care. It's not me. So,
But there's also the other side of it that goes, okay, that may be the case for everyone else, but I'm not everyone else. I'll be that one person.
right. I'm right there with you. I'm a big advocate for being confident and honestly believing in yourself. And I love that you just said, because nobody else will. And I agree with that. You might have people that will go ahead and say, "I believe in you." But the true test of if you truly believe in yourself is if you go do it.
And that's so hard too, because I, for one, and like I talk a big game, but I am very self-deprecating, and I am I mean, everybody's their own biggest critic, right? Like everybody's
Agreed.
always worried about what everybody else thinks and whatever. And it's like 9 times out of 10, they're more worried about what other people are thinking about themselves. They don't give two rats' asses about what you are doing.
Yeah.
So like it's sometimes hard to pull yourself out of that mindset, but it is so true. Like you really need to focus on like positivity and what you want. And like I'm a full, like some people believe, in God, or they believe in the universe, whatever. I am a full believer in however you think this presents, of manifestation. You can believe shit into existence if that's what you focus on.
Yep.
If you focus on negative stuff all the time, you're going to get negative stuff back because you're attracting that.
Yep.
Like negativity loves to be around negativity. So if you're constantly, "Oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah," like you're going to attract people that have that same energy. People are going to meet you where you're at.
Yeah.
So like if you're constantly like, "Okay, yeah, you know what? This didn't go great. Now what?" And you move on instead of like focusing on that thing, you're going to get better because you're going to learn from it. One of my business mentors, Janelle Copeland, her and her husband Eddie Copeland, they have a podcast called the Push Podcast, and they talk about that kind of stuff all the time. It's like you need to focus on what's going to make you better, and you need to learn from mistakes. Like I forget the name of the book, but there's a book where they talk about like fuck bucks, and like you only have so many fuck bucks to give a day. So are you going to waste them all on stupid stuff, or are you going to use them on the things that really matter? So it's like not letting the little things bother you, and like bring down your energy. And they're constantly talking about how like you need to be the positive force in your own life. And if you constantly let other people or other negative things bring you down, you're never going to reach your goals.
I couldn't agree more.
So if something negative happens, this is what you say. This is good because fill in the blank.
That's what I say. Honestly, I've had so many things that have happened in my life that at that moment in time, I did not want it to happen. I'll admit. I was upset about it. I would complain about it. I didn't want it to. And now I look back on it, and I'm so thankful that I had that experience. Because if I didn't have that experience, it wouldn't have helped prepare me for X, Y, and Z. And I think that that's what is supposed to happen. And I love what you just said. I do believe in God. I know there's some people that don't. But the point that I'm making is whichever side you go on, whether you believe in God or you believe in the universe, like you said, both of them are about if you put positivity, you're going to get that back.
Yeah, you get it back tenfold.
It's going to circle back to you. And I'm so big on that. And I've said these things. And at one point I had over 17,000 followers on TikTok. I got taken down for saying this, and I'll say it again because I stand by it, okay? I
Shout
stand
it.
I stand
Shout it
on
from
what
the
I say.
rooftops.
I said that I believe feeling depressed is real, but I'm not a person that believes that it could take so much away from me. And at first, when I said that, people were yelling at me. The amount of people that I had writing in my comments saying, "What do you mean? My wife left me and I'm super depressed and it's super real, blah, blah, blah." And I said, I'm not saying depression as a
But that's not what you're saying.
right.
You're saying it won't affect you as a person because you will not let it.
Exactly. And
There's
that's
a
what it is.
difference. As someone who, I'll tell you right now, as someone who is diagnosed with depression, who is on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, I will tell you that that is a very big thing that is very accurate. Because on my lowest days, while there is that, I call it my I call it my annoying little friend. My depression will tell me, you're not good enough. What's the point? You don't need to get out of bed. Like, let's just stay in bed 10 more minutes. This is so annoying. I don't want to be doing this. But there is also a second person in there that can turn around and say, yeah, I get that, but we got shit to do.
Yes. Yes.
And there is an active choice. Will I tell you it's hard? It's 1,000% hard. There are some days where I will break down in tears because those two people in my head are fighting because I know I need to get up and do shit, but I really don't want to. And it is a choice. It is a choice. And it's some people struggle with it more than others. And if you're a person who is very strong, has a strong will and a strong purpose to get up and get those things done, regardless of the fact that you have those issues, all power to you. Some people don't. But what you were saying, from what I gathered, is you know yourself well enough to know that if you even had that issue, you would be strong enough to be like, yes, but there's shit to do.
Completely.
Yes, but I choose this.
Completely.
And it's choosing to take that step forward instead of not moving. And that's what people I don't think got from what you said.
It's true because it's still choosing a hard. Everything in life is hard. It's just choosing which hard. In this particular scenario that you're talking about, staying in bed is going to be hard because you're going to have to wrestle your own thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. You're going to have to wrestle with those in that bed. Getting up is hard. Fighting through is hard. But which hard do you want? And that's always the person I've been. I've always been a self-disciplined person. I've always been a person that I do things even when I don't want to because I know I have to. For example, going to the gym. That's something I do, honestly, to even just help myself feel better because I can go down to the gym and I can only maybe do a 20, 30-minute shit workout. But if I showed up for myself, I'm proud of myself that I did that.
That's literally half the battle is even going.
It is. It's just showing up for yourself. And I'm thankful that you said that you saw what I was trying to say because it wasn't that I was trying to be disrespectful of what people are going through. What I was saying was is I understand it's a real thing. My grandfather passed away when I was younger, and there are times where it gets me. But I get up and I still go. And one of the things he said to me, how could you be afraid of a ghost if you don't believe in that ghost? And that always stuck with me. So to me,
that's good.
This feeling, sometimes I'll have to sit there and I'll go, I don't believe you right now. So I'm going to believe this. Like you said, those two binary, thoughts in your head.
Listen, that is super powerful because that is one of the biggest things when you're trying to change your mindset and try to be like in a better, healthier, productive mindset is, and this was something, so the business course that I took with Janelle and Eddie was called Passion to Profit. And it's an 8-week course. And the very first week, the very first module is called Get Your Shit Together. And it's literally, she's like, I know you all signed up for this for a pricing course and how to price your shit and do whatever. I'm telling you now, as a business owner, you're not going to be productive until you get your shit together. And the first thing is getting your head in the game and identify. And she makes you sit with it, which is great. It's like a therapy session. I swear to God. You have to sit there and you have to write down all of the bullshit stories you tell yourself about yourself. And it's freaking hard, let me tell you, but it is so worth it because when you sit there and go, okay, what stories do I constantly tell myself? I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I tell myself I'm fat. As like compared to who? Compared to what? Like what are you going off of? Oh, well my clothes don't fit. So you have the wrong size clothes. Like what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, or hey, you have a Peloton downstairs. When's the last time you've been on that thing? Can you do something about it? Is there an action step? And why haven't you done it? And what? Like now what? What's the next one? Oh, well, I'm not good enough. Compared to who? Who are you comparing yourself to?
That's so true.
Compare yourself to yourself.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Look at your cake. Like for me, look at your cake that you did yesterday. Look at your cake you did last year. Is there improvement? Yes. Okay. So what do you mean? Does it have validity? No. So why think it?
I agree.
And it's hard to do because you want to believe it at first, but you really have to look at the things that you think about yourself and ask yourself, is this valid? And where is this coming from? And if it doesn't have validity, let it go. Don't think about it anymore. Recognize when you think it and go, no, that's not true. And pick the opposite thought. Mm-hmm. And it is so freeing. It really, really is.
It's liberating. It's liberating.
It is. It's hard. And some days I can't do it, but I do really try to do it at least once a day where I'm like, why am I thinking this right now? That's why affirmations are such a big deal. It sounds so dumb. And honestly, I started doing it. And like, I don't say them out loud because I feel silly still doing it. But I'll write them down in my phone and I'll read them from time to time. If I start feeling like I'm less than or I can't do something as good as somebody else. And God, social media is such a pain in the ass when it comes to that. But
I know I hate
it's like you have to write down. Sometimes you have to learn to be nice to yourself. Like a lot of people are so mean to themselves, and me included sometimes. And it's like you have to sit there and kind of go, you know what? No, I've been on 3 freaking TV shows. I've won 2 of them. That's amazing. I'm going to be 32 years old and I've already accomplished what some people don't accomplish in their entire lives.
Yep.
That's freaking cool. I'm a badass.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, am I in the place that I want to be yet? No, but who cares? What timeline? Whose timeline is that? I'm still young. I've got time. Like, why do we put all these pressures on ourselves? It's unnecessary.
Completely. There's a lot to unpack that what you just said because I agree with you.
Sorry, I go off on tangents. You'll learn that about me.
No, I do too, and I'm right there with you, my friend. I always say the only easy day was yesterday, the day that you just finished. Now you gotta keep working. And I take pride in the fact that 30-year-old Nathanael could kick 20-year-old Nathaniel's ass easily. I take pride in that because, and you would think, oh, they're 20, you're young, that's the best time of your life. No, I take pride in the fact that at this stage of my life, that guy's so unrecognizable. He's gone. I wasn't happy with who he was. He made a lot of poor decisions, but I'm proud of who I am now. And I think that these small victories, like you said,
and celebrate the small victories. You need to take time to sit in the small victories and celebrate them for what they are, because they're not small at the end of the day.
No,
they're not. Milestones.
You're right. I want to hear some of the affirmations that you tell yourself.
All right, cool. I tell myself that I am a champion cake decorator. Period. I may not be great at everything, but I'm good at what I can do. And I sit with that. I am an amazing artist. I am beautiful. I am enough. I'm a great mom. I'm a great wife. I'm my own person. That's a huge one. Because a lot of times for women, we get so caught up on what we are to other people, but we are a person. We're a human being on our own. Yes, we're someone's mom or sister or daughter or wife or whatever, but we're also us. And that's a lot. Sometimes, like, you know, mom guilt comes a lot with that. It's like, oh, I'm focused on the business right now. I can't really spend time with my kids. Oh, is this going to affect them later? And it's like, no, it's not. Maybe it will. Okay. They'll figure it out in therapy. There is not a single parent on this God's green earth that can say that they were the best parent in the world and they did nothing wrong. You're going to fuck your kids up some way or another. Pardon my French. They'll figure it out in therapy. You do the best you can with the information you have at the time, and you do the best you can for your children. But at the end of the day, I know, even through the mom guilt, my two boys are going to look back on their childhood and see how much I worked to get where I was. And one day they're going to see me reach my ultimate dreams, and they're going to be proud of me. And they're going to go, you know what? What my mom did was hard as shit. She worked full time at a different business, doing the same thing she does from home to build up clientele, to be able to own her own bakery outside of our home. And she took care of us. And she made our birthdays amazing because she made us these crazy cakes and put together these parties. And she took care of the house. And she was there for dad. And they're going to be proud of me because I'm proud of me. And I think I said that in the show, and that got on in one of the segments when I got kicked off, was like, yeah, I know they're going to be proud of me because I'm proud of me. Yeah. And that was a big thing to realize, was that, you know what? I am proud of me. I may not always show it, but I am, because I've accomplished some pretty cool shit.
Yeah, you're fucking 2-time champ on some competition shows against some against some of the best competition in the world. Like, that is something to be proud about. And those are, you mentioned that they're milestones. Even honestly, for what this is worth, even if you didn't kick ass and win those shows, the fact that you still put yourself out there, competed on those shows, fought your heart out to get on that stage, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win. And that's something that people would be proud about. I completely agree with you. I think that people don't take the time to be appreciative of the journey. Like, we're talking how millennials, we get called snowflakes and act like we're pushovers, all this. In some aspects, I don't actually think so. I actually think we're one of the more toughest groups. And again, this might be
resilient.
I was going to say this might be biased because of, I'm in this generation, blah, blah, blah. But I think we are, because in some aspects, I grew up with a very tough mom. I grew up with a mom that stood on business and would fuck shit up if I acted out of line. And if I said some of the stuff she did in today's era, people would have a meltdown. They'd be like, wow, oh my goodness, are you going through this traumatic experience, blah, blah, blah.
Sidebar. Our generation is the culmination of one meme. Do you know which one I'm going to tell you?
No, what is it?
The dog sitting at the kitchen table with the whole house on fire going, this is fine.
Yes.
That is millennial.
But it's true. But then, like I said, then we've also had to adjust to this new era of technology and these keyboard warriors and these people that have no communication in front of a person. Like, I don't know how these, not that I really care to, but I don't know how these young kids nowadays are even communicating with a girl that they have a crush on or a guy that they have a crush on, other than likes on their Instagram stories and likes on their Instagram page. It
literally gives me indigestion. When I met my husband, we met freshman year of college, which was 2010. And I never had to download Tinder. I never had to, thank God. Because I would not be able to handle it. I don't understand how you can, and then like to be catfished and no. I'm all set.
You and your husband met in Miami, right?
Yeah, we both went to Johnson & Wales University in North Miami. It's funny because the school closed, not the full school, but the campus closed during COVID. And originally, like, Johnson & Wales started out as a business school for women, and it's known for being a culinary school, but it also offers like way more programs than that. And so my people constantly ask me, oh, is your husband a chef too? And I'm like, not even close. Nope. He could be, because he's an amazing cook, but like, no, he didn't go to school for that. They're like, what do you go to school for? I was like, sports entertainment and event management with a concentration in golf club management. And they're like, huh? I was like, yeah, we had some random stuff at our school. It's fine.
Golf as a minor? That's
Yeah,
pretty.
they recruited him from Scotland to be on the golf team,
No
and
way.
that's how he ended up going to school where I went to school. And he did his internship at a company that was a florist and event management company, and he became the general manager and was doing like wedding planning. Like he was the wedding planner. When we got married, he built our arch. He made my bouquet by himself. He did our florals. He did like the whole like aisle and everything. Yeah, it was pretty wild. I told him, I'm like, if you ever quit tech or like get to a point where we have a big enough savings, we should open up like kind of like a one-stop shop, like shopping mall kind of thing, like a strip mall where it's like copyright.
Yeah, yep.
It's
This
like
is your idea.
where it's like an event company, and then like one suite is like a photographer, and then you have catering, and then you have my bakery, and then you have like a wedding dress boutique, and like they can go to get everything in one place, and they can just boop boop boop, boop down the line
And one big package deal
in
type
one
of.
package.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you go with all the vendors, you get like a discount or something. I thought that'd be so cool. He's like, I don't want to do that. I was like, come on, it'll be fun. He's like,
That's an investment I'd go ahead and put my money in because that sounds like a
I
great
thought it was a
idea.
good idea.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants convenience now, right? Just trying to make life easier for people.
I have an idea, and you tell me if this is a good idea or a bad idea. Either way,
All right,
I'm going to
go.
copyright it right now. Okay.
All right, let's go.
You know how they have the Chipotle, even though they're under fire on TikTok for not giving enough portions. This will not happen at Nathanael's restaurant. I would love to do something similar to that, but with breakfast sandwiches. And what I mean by that is, so you pick the bread. Bread can be French toast. It could be regular toast. It could be a bagel. It could be pancake, whatever. Bread.
That sounds amazing. You had me at breakfast sandwich.
Choice of protein. Bacon, sausage, whatever. Turkey sausage, turkey bacon. I don't care, whatever. Boom. Maybe even a steak fillet, because I know some of these athletes love their steak and egg. Then you pick
Steak
your
and eggs
egg.
are great.
You could do a fried egg. You could do scrambled eggs. Whatever you want. Egg white. Then you can put your veggies, whatever. Fold it up, and at the end, it's like a conveyor belt type of deal, like Chipotle, Subway, but with breakfast
I
sandwiches.
approve.
Yeah.
I approve. I don't often eat breakfast, which is so bad. But it's funny. I was gonna get a coffee and bring it down with my new mug. I got a mug from Michael's the other day, and it says, "I am not a morning person." And I was like, this is so ironic because I'm really not a morning person, but I'm literally always up before the crack of dawn because I work in a bakery, and so I'm constantly like up before the sun is, and I'm like, this is a hilarious mug, and I totally need to get it because I'm not like a moody person. I think my husband probably argue with me, but
Yeah.
but I'm normally like pretty outgoing and bubbly, and so like constantly cracking jokes, so it's just a funny funny thing. But I do love breakfast. I really do. Any sort of breakfast food is my jam, but I never have time for it. So that would be amazing if I could like pop into a shop and be like, all right, this is what I want on it. I want spinach, I want mushrooms, I want onions. Make me an omelet, wrap, stick it in a tortilla, and let's get the fuck out of here. Like that'd be great.
Right? And then at the end, if you want, you could put, I'm not a ketchup on egg guy, but you could put ketchup, you could put honey, you could put whatever type of little fixins you want. Sriracha, that's what I'm saying. I think I'm on to a great idea here.
I do too.
I think I
do
am.
too.
But I copyrighted it. So if somebody ever tries to take it, it can't happen. And then you know what?
What would you call it? Do you have any names? Any ideas? What you would call it?
Ooh. Like I want it to be something like a play on words. Like there's one restaurant near me, and it's called Buds and Suds, and they strictly focus on potatoes, like French fries,
I like that.
and beer. So I want it to be something punny like that. I
love puns.
Yes.
They're my favorite.
Yeah, so I haven't thought of it yet because even like I know we call it Chipotle, Subway. I get it because you're making subs. I can understand why they're called that, but I don't like that. I want it to be something fun with a little bit of razzle to the dazzle, pizzazz to make it seem like it's like Okay, yeah, let's go meet there. That's what I envision. So you know what? When we do our part 2, I'll come up with
I'll think of some names.
I'm gonna
I'll
think of
think of
some
some
names, and
names.
we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hammer this because
Yeah.
the reason why we definitely have to do a part 2 is because I didn't even get into the shows.
I know. We just went off on a tangent.
But that is why I love the Reyes Reflection. I love that we can have these honest, heart-to-heart conversations, and I think that makes enriching content. I think when you can have these honest, open moments with a person, you can go ahead and do that. So in true fashion, though, I want to end the way I do every episode, okay? So I'm going to say a couple of burning questions along with a chat pack, and I'm going to add something to the screen, and we're going to go ahead and try to have some fun, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
Is fondant edible?
Yes. It's delicious. It tastes like marshmallows.
Why do some people dislike it then?
Okay. Wilton, don't come for me. The old Wilton fondant that they used to sell at Michael's used to be the go-to fondant for at-home bakers. Fact check me if you want. When I was coming up and I first started, I didn't know about these Restaurant Depot, the restaurant store, Amazon wasn't a thing, all that stuff. So you couldn't get good quality fondant. So the craft and hobby fondant was all that was available. So people would, because if you throw a rock in any city, you will hit at least 10 home bakers, okay? Which is great. I love that for everyone involved. However, because of that, a lot of the times home bakers don't necessarily buy in bulk. They don't necessarily go through restaurant supply or anything like that. Or like nowadays it's a little more accessible because you have the internet, you have social media, everybody's promoting their small businesses, their supply stores, all that. When I was coming up, they didn't have that. So the fondant you would get if you didn't go to one of those places was Wilton fondant, and it tasted and smelled awful. And so people think that all fondant tastes horrendous. Now, do some people still think that the higher quality fondant doesn't taste good? Yes. However, I will tell you 9 out of 10 times when I have a client that tries to tell me, oh, I don't want fondant, and I go, I hate to break it to you, but that design requires fondant, they'll be like, oh, but I really don't like it. The number one thing I tell them is, what if I told you you didn't need to eat the fondant? I.e., like it's on the outside, eat around it. Like it's not that difficult. Secondly, I always give them with their cake samples a sample of I use Satin Ice. Some people use Renshaw. There's a whole bunch of different ones. Satin Ice is the more commercialized one. I use it almost exclusively. I love that brand. I think it tastes great. Tastes like marshmallows. And I give them a piece and I cut it in a little star or heart or something, and I give it to them and they go, oh my God, that's so good. And I'm like, it's not crappy quality. I don't know what to tell you. Don't say you don't like something. And I tell my kids this all the time. You cannot say you don't like something if you have not tried it.
Yeah.
And if you've tried something, that's not the only version that's out there.
It's true. I always say don't yuck a yum because you never know.
Yes, 1000%. And on top of that, certain cakes don't even get covered in fondant. They get covered in modeling chocolate because sculpted cakes, you don't do fondant on the outside of it because you need to be able to blend like clay. And that's what modeling chocolate essentially is. It's got so much oil content that you can actually blend it out and make it look like it's one cohesive piece. And so that tastes even better because it tastes like freaking chocolate. So, yeah.
So there's a stigmatization behind it because for a while when you 10, 15 years ago when you were first starting out trying to start making cakes, it didn't taste the best.
No, because the brands that were readily available weren't great.
Gotcha. Okay. That's it. See, this is why I love to ask. I love to learn about these things. Like I interviewed, I don't know if you know her, Kayla Giddings. I interviewed her from Is It Cake 2. And I was like, what is chocolate ganache? Because I hear everybody talk about it.
It's so good. That's what it is. It's edible crack. It's so amazing. It's so good. Chocolatey goodness.
Chocolatey goodness. I've never, I don't know. I probably have tried it. She even said it. She goes,
you probably have.
You probably have. You just don't know.
If you've ever had like a chocolate mousse parfait or something from the grocery store where it's like cake and mousse and whipped cream and whatnot, 9 times out of 10 there's ganache in there.
Oh, then
It's just
yes,
like a
I've tried it.
thicker. It's kind of like fudge icing, but a little more rich because it doesn't have like all like the different oils and stuff. It's literally true ganache is chocolate and cream and sometimes a little bit of butter depending on the recipe.
Okay. Yeah, then I probably have tried it because I've gotten those little parfait mousse, whatever variations. Yes, yes. Okay, and it is really good.
I'm so hungry right now, so I'm like, oh, ganache.
I know, I know. We're gonna wrap because we're gonna wrap pretty soon. Because I know it's dinner time. I don't know if it is for you. What time zone are you in? East Coast?
Eastern, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
East
So
Coast.
appreciate. Yeah, so we're both like, oh, dinner's right around the corner. All right. Biggest conspiracy theory you believe in?
Ooh, that's a good one. Biggest conspiracy theory. I don't know if I fully believe in it, but it's definitely like a very interesting and compelling one. The fact that Avril Lavigne is not Avril Lavigne.
What do you
Have you
mean?
heard of that one?
What?
Oh, fall down that rabbit hole later. So there's like
I'm
a
gonna.
there's like a conspiracy theory that like I forget what year it is, but there's like a very distinct year that like the whole Kate Middleton thing that happened recently where like people were like that's not Kate Middleton
Yes.
and then it came out that she had cancer. Okay, similar to that, Avril Lavigne, like kind of around the time that she started transitioning more into pop, they were like, that doesn't look like her. She has different bone structure, blah, 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 blah. Like, never mind, it could be plastic surgery. People were like, no, that's not her. And there's like a conspiracy theory that she like died or like committed suicide or something, and they replaced her with a body double. And like this body double like fully assumed her life because the record label didn't want to lose money or something like that. But like, you should fall down that rabbit hole because it definitely gets you thinking. I don't know if I fully believe in it, but it's definitely one of those like, but I wonder if it's true. Like it's just so interesting to like look up.
It is interesting because I don't. She sings the song "Hey Hey You." I don't like. Okay,
Hmm. And people think that song is her body double and not her because her music also changed so drastically and her like look and everything. It was like a whole reinvention. But they're like, if you look at earlier pictures of her, that doesn't look like her. There are such tiny, small differences that you're like, that's a different freaking person.
I'm gonna really dive into this because
You should.
I was just about to say "Complicated," which I love that song, and that song, I love that song as well. They almost don't even sound like the same person. I'm
Mm-mm.
gonna have to. I am gonna dive into this, and then for part two. So I'm writing this down because for part two I have homework. Part two I have name of restaurant and Avril Lavigne. We have some homework to do here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna add this to the screen here. Okay. If you're biting into the
Ooh.
sandwich, what bite are you taking? A, B, or C?
What shape was that before it was bitten into? Because that definitely has that's a big question. If it was a square, I would have to say probably A. But if it was like a triangle piece, I'm going C.
Okay, a triangle. What do you mean a triangle piece? Like a triangle
Like
piece of bread?
if it was like a triangle half, you know what I mean? Like where they cut
Oh,
it in half. I'm
I
going
see.
right in the middle. But if it's a square, I'm going like on one of the sides. I'm not biting the corner like a psycho.
I see. Yeah, I do agree with you because I sometimes I'm like A is a little bit chaotic there. That's if you're picking A, you're a menace to society.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. I love it. All right, I got a chat pack question for you. Okay,
All right.
I really can't wait for part two. We got a lot to unpack on that. I'm excited for it. Okay, what is the longest line you have ever stood in?
Oh my gosh, the longest line. I'm trying to think.
I know that's a tough one. I feel like the cheap answer would be
Like longest line as far as like time or longest line as far as people?
yeah, that's a good question because I mean I feel like the cheap answer would be amusement park. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good here. You know what? The beautiful thing about the show is we can make our own rules. So we're gonna go ahead and just
All right, I'm going time.
okay. You're
I'm gonna
going time.
okay. So longest line I've ever waited in time wise was a concert. I wanted to be front row,
Avril
standing
Lavigne.
room only.
No.
No. No. I was gonna say I never saw her live, but I did. I saw her open up for the Jonas Brothers when they played their first stadium tour. That was a long time ago. Holy crap. I It was for a band called Falling in Reverse, and they were playing at Revolution Live in Fort Lauderdale, and I got there. No, sorry, different venue in Fort Lauderdale. It was longer. The Culture Room in Fort Lauderdale was the first show I went to of theirs. We got there at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we waited there all day. I think we were like the 10th or 11th person to be let in, because it was like line up and get in there. And it was like half the size of a House of Blues location. Like it was tiny.
So small.
And they packed us in there like sardines. And I'm 5'2" and I was tiny. And I was like in the middle of all these giant men. And I'm just like, and I think we waited there. We were there until the doors opened at 6:30. So that was what? 7 hours?
Yeah, when did you get in?
11:30.
Okay.
We waited there. Yeah, so 8 hours.
Wait.
That was the longest.
6:30.
I think I stood in line.
You were there at 6:30 in the morning?
No. I was there at 11:30 in the morning.
Oh,
and then the doors opened at 6:30 at night.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 7 hours. Yeah, 7 hours.
Yeah, so I stood in line that long for that. You know, people stand in line for iPhones and stuff. Like, no, this concert, because it was, so their singer, Ronnie Radke, he used to be the lead singer of Escape the Fate. And I discovered them on MySpace in 07.
Top 5?
And so, yeah, I found them on MySpace. And then I was like, oh, I love them. And then a bunch of stuff happened. Lead singer went to jail for a little while. They replaced him as a singer. And he started a new band from jail. And then they came out, released their first album. And now they're like, it's so cool because I've seen them. I feel like part of the elite because I liked them from the OG, like back when he was in Escape the Fate, and I've watched, followed their career, and now they're like really, really popular. And they're about to go on tour with what's the name? Black Veil Brides and somebody else. And I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. And so it's so crazy because I've done several meet and greets with them and been up close, literally at the gate, and so I've been so far up against the gate that I missed the mosh pit. That's how, because I used to go there early to get there first. And I think VIP tickets back then were $50 for the meet and greet and everything. And now they're $150, $200. But it's I was able to do that. That's so cool. And it's some people are so weird about artists and gatekeeping and whatnot. And they're like, oh, I knew them before they were cool. And it's while that's true for me, I'm so happy for their success because I knew they were so good from back then. And just to see them kind of just have this upward trajectory has been awesome to watch. Sorry, I went off another tangent.
You're completely fine. You want to know what's funny? You know how we talked about things that were cool at one point and then not at another, or you discovered them. So you want to know something that I am kind of annoyed about that I discovered or that I started doing and now it's
Go
cool?
for it.
Crocs.
Oh, you know what? Unpopular opinion. Nobody come for me. I hate Crocs. I hate them. I think they're so ugly. But it's kind of a fashion statement, though. I can appreciate that it's a statement.
Yes.
And I appreciate what they are more now. I used to get so annoyed about them because I'm they look so bad. If you are under the age of 10, stop, or you don't work in a kitchen. But now I kind of get it with the charms and whatever. Okay, I'm warming up to the idea. I don't think I'd ever wear them, but I get that there's a following for them. But it's not it for me.
Caitlin, I don't wear them for the aesthetics. I wear them for the comfort. Because when I used to wear them,
I've heard that.
Practice would end, and I don't know if you remember these Adidas bump slides.
Slides! Yes! Those were so uncomfortable, but they looked cool as shit.
They were fucking cool, but they would poke into my foot, and I hated them.
Giving yourself acupuncture.
Yeah. My mom, she just bought me a pair of Crocs. At the time, they were only like $20. She just was like, whatever, here, wear these. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to wear them. And I wore them. All my friends would rip me apart for wearing them. And now, these same clowns that would yell at me for wearing them, I see them wearing them. When I go to my local mall, they're wearing them. They're buying the gibbets, all that other stuff.
I'll do you one better.
Let me hear.
People who used to make fun of people in elementary and middle school for wearing goddamn Champion.
And now it's one of the most, and New Balance.
And it's so expensive. I'm like, I used to get that shit for three for $15 at Walmart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I used to get made fun of for wearing that shit.
Me too.
Are you kidding me?
Me too.
And now it's like haute couture. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what? I cannot.
I used to wear New Balances, and they used to call them dad shoes. And now everybody's wearing New Balances. I used to wear the Shacks from Payless. Oh, my goodness.
Speaking of dad shoes. Okay, so so we had our first son in 2017. And he works for a tech company, and they were talking to him about, oh, you're going to turn into that quintessential, like, dad, get the dad starter pack, like this whole thing. Let me show you what they got him.
Oh my goodness, like Nikes that look like dad shoes. That is hilarious.
So I had the idea, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough time now, but I might do it for next year if I don't have time. I saw a decorated sugar cookie that had that shoe on it, and it said dad mode activated. And I went, I'll raise you one better. For Father's Day, I'm going to offer sculpted Nike shoes for a Father's Day gift.
Copyright. This is their idea.
How cool is that idea?
That is a cool idea.
Dad mode activated with the freaking Nike shoe and the tube sock. I love it.
Yeah, the high tube sock right below the knee.
And the tucked in shirt with the belt.
The knee has to be showing. Kneecap has to be showing.
Yes.
Oh, man. I can't wait for part 2. Please plug in your socials so people can find you, listen to you, all that stuff.
So I am on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok, I have to double check. I'm either the Caitlin Taylor or I'm at the Sculpted Slice. Instagram, I'm also at the Sculpted Slice. And I'm hoping in the next 6 months to start a YouTube channel because everybody has been telling me that I need to do it. But, you know, equipment and being a one-woman show is a little difficult. You know, all the spare time I don't have, I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel. So
yeah. In between you driving from work to home, that's when I want you to figure out your YouTube channel. Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
And I want you to wake up every 20 minutes in your sleep and try to just write ideas down about this YouTube channel.
You know, it's so funny because I literally, like, that was one of my biggest things before I got my ADHD medication was, like, the insomnia was so real because my mind does not turn off.
Yeah.
I am constantly just like, oh, this would be so cool if we did this. Oh, this would be so cool if we did this. And I am like, I forget what I am, but there's like that personality archetype thing that you can do. It's like one of those quizzes or whatever. And it basically like says like your group of time that you're most productive throughout the day based on these answers. And it's like, you could either be early morning, like late morning, early afternoon, like twilight-ish time, dinner time, and then like overnight.
Yeah.
And I am definitely a like nighttime person because I'm so like slow to start in the morning and whatever. I'll do it if I have to, but that's not like where the creativity flows. It's like when I have no time to do anything at night when I'm like, I should really be asleep, but oh my God, get the notebook. Like,
I'm the same way. All my great ideas come at night. In the morning, most of the time I'm dead to the world, or like you said, I'll get up and I'll do it. But I even prefer working out later just because I have more energy and I'm more awake. I'm lively. I don't know what it is. I'm a night owl. That's what it is.
Yeah, me too. Owl. And also, hot take, but I am so, you know what really, I won't say that, but you know what really grinds my gears about people?
Were you going to say what?
You know, I was going to say chaps my ass. It's my new favorite phrase lately. But Honestly, what really makes me so annoyed is how, like, if you don't conform to the normal hours of functionality, even if you are functional for the same amount of hours, if it's not in that specific time block, you're lazy. I can get more shit done between the hours of 3 p.m. and 1 a.m. than most people get done from 9 to 5.
I agree. I'm the same way.
But people would call me lazy because I don't want to get up at 7 a.m. every day. It doesn't make any sense. Like, let's rewrite that narrative, please.
We're gonna start it today. This is the anti-crusade against
now.
Yes.
Stop being judgy assholes. We're not lazy. We're just productive at a different hour.
That's right. I'm the same way. I'm right there with you. Most of my work is done. So at those evenings.
Creative problems.
Yeah. Creative
mind problems.
Caitlin, thank you so much again for taking time joining me. You're forever a friend of the pod. I sworn you in, and I can't wait. We didn't even get into your shows, and I can't wait. We're going to talk about all of it. Like I said, we're going to correspond on how to get this done. So I really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, for sure. And if you ever want to do like a regular segment about hot takes, I got a lot of opinions.
You know what we'll do? You'll be my first 3P because we'll do this one.
Did you know that 3 is actually my lucky number?
Is it -4? So
it is.
Might have to do 3.5 episodes just to kind of meet in the middle.
There you
go. But no, yeah, we'll do this one. Then we'll do one just of you talking your shows. Then we'll do a third one of all hot takes. I'll come at you with all the fire.
Great.
Look, what is that?
Yes.
I love that. That is a cool visual.
That was awesome.
That is going to do it for this episode of the Reyes Reflection. But be sure to check out part 2, which we just came up on the fly. We didn't even have that planned, but
nope.
We came up with it.
Talks too much.
And we're going to do it. Follow the show. Share the show with someone you know. Follow me on those socials at I'm Nathanael Reyes, and check out our wonderful sponsors, Arave Cards, Jocko Fuel, and Mad Rabbit. And as always, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all.